Yo, welcome to the No Pick Show where there's no hand hold me, different facts, not emotion. I got a long time comrade of mine in the building. Please tell the people about yourself, brother.
Hey, what's going on, Chaz, man? The man with a million opinions. You gotta feel good. You gotta feel good. They was getting on your ass about 2, 3 years ago on that brand new stuff, boy. They was getting on you, and you got the last laugh. So I gotta give you credit on that, man. You was Jon Snow, Jiff, Jon Snow, Jiff, my friend, and came out on the other side of it, and pretty much. I saw some of the light that you was talking about, but really FIBA kind of like that was the where it was like, okay, I can't defend it no more. So that's kind of from with it. But I give you credit, you were standing along with that opinion, and you it kind of came to fruition that you were correct in that. So I'm gonna give you props on that. Basically, I worked at the Times Picayune for 7 years. I covered two NBA All Star games.
Mm.
When I was over there, I had my mic, my digital mic in front of Boogie Cousins when he made that little crazy face talking about I'm going
I
to
ain't tripping.
yeah. So I have a little experience covering some sports here. I went to journalism school at LSU. I graduated. I worked a little bit at Fox 8 early on in my career. Uh, Again, worked at Times Picayune for 7 years, and currently I'm a PA announcer, stadium announcer. I announce for the seven-time champion Car Cougars, McDonough 35, West Jefferson, LB Landry, historic black school. So football season about to start in a couple weeks. My schedule's about to get incredibly hectic. But yeah, I know usually when we're on Twitter, we're going back and forth. You see some of my comments, I see some of your comments. It's kind of
Right.
what's going on today with a lot of the athletes now. Like the game has changed significantly. When I came in, when I started, I was watching Dan Patrick, Keith Olbermann. They was doing poetry back and
Stuart
forth.
Scott.
Yeah, sports guy Stuart Scott, obviously. Mark Jones. People don't even know Mark Jones was Stuart Scott before Stuart Scott. People don't
Mm.
even know that. He hosted his own solo NBA show. Before Stuart Scott even got on ESPN2 and jumped off. So Mark Jones been doing it forever. You
Right.
know, hotter than fish grease. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So, that's how it used to be. It used to be a system, guys coming up, showing a lot of creativity to try to get themselves on there. And now what you're seeing now in the, I guess in the Stephen A. Smith,
Wait. I don't want to get too far ahead. So I want to pose this question to you, right? Because again, I do see a lot of, every time I see a controversial sports take from an athlete, and I go to the comments, the first name I see is my dog with regular timeline Hank. He's like, "Oh, what is this mess?" Right? And I totally get it because let me let the audience know this. I always try to go out of my way to say, I'm not media. I work with a media company, but I'm not media. I'm at best a talking head entertainer. Hank does this for real. Like Hank is a communication expert. Hank is a journalist, right? Now I might do some investigative, type stuff and put things together and put it out there and make educated statements. But this is Hank's it's Hank's trade. This is what Hank does. I'm moonlighting. This is what Hank does. So Hank, let me pitch this to you. All right. So do you think, for lack of a better term, the barbershop atmosphere that has kind of overtaken sports journalism as far as like several talking heads in a room. Maybe some people maybe just yelling at one another, just saying some outlandish things without the true, attention to detail, the true journalism, the true nuance that goes into being a journalist or a media personality. Do you think with the invitation of so many of those figures that it's hurt sports journalism as a whole?
I think it's no way the answer can be anything but it's hurting. I mean, just the obviousness of the situation is you turn on your television now, you pop on first take. We are in a take-a-thon. No one cares about the repercussions of their information being right or wrong. It's about who can get the take, who can get that take viral clipped online for people to go back and forth debating it, and then you start getting your exposure from that, and you build off of that. Like I was talking about before, when I came into it, when I saw what I wanted to do with this. It was the art of it, the poetry of it, the doing the highlights and coming up with creative things to say about, a guy scoring a basket or hitting a home run or stuff like that. And over the years, we've seen that dissipate to where ESPN only has a handful of commentators now for the Sports Center. We had like what's my guy named Stan Verrett, who was here in New Orleans. Him and the other guy, they did the LA version for like 10 straight years. I mean, so there's no moving parts anymore within that tier of journalism. And you see that the floodgates have now opened for the former athletes. And the former athletes, they proliferate everything now. You rarely see a sports show where you don't see a former athlete on there, rabble rousing about something. And a lot of times, look, let's just be honest about it. They lack a little depth. They lack
So
the journalism qualities of being able to cover the story from each side, understanding what to say, what maybe you need to hold back a little bit. A lot of times they're going on there trying to get a fight with Kendrick Perkins or Kwame Brown. I mean, is that
right.
journalism? Oh,
So let me ask you this. Now, in the interest of fairness, because I think it goes both ways, right? I think what I dislike is when people say, "Oh, well, you ain't never played in the NBA, or you never played in the NFL, or you. So how could you know?" I would be more qualified to speak about this, but it's like, you know, we all have our roles in life and our skill sets. Just because a person has experience in certain things, they may not always be the most articulate person in detailing said experiences, or maybe you can play, but you're not necessarily the best at, I say, improvisational skills. Maybe you're not the best at speaking, because this is a communications business. Hold my bad, Hank. My bad, Hank. Hold on, you muted. You muted. Hold on, Hank. Hold on. Go ahead.
no, I was saying one of the things I'm always saying is that rule one, you have to be able to talk. That's
Mm-hmm.
rule one. Rule one, you have to be able to talk. And I'm seeing people that can't talk, Chaz. I'm seeing people who can't talk. So that's always been my first rule.
Right. And see, that's the thing for me as well. I'm just like, I can immediately kind of watch a show now and say, "Ooh, this ain't gonna be on too long. This ain't gonna stick." Look, because I'm in a podcast space, so I keep tabs with. I'm not in competition, but I watch people's products. So I need to know what's going on, especially as it pertains to the Pelicans and the NBA, because that's my ballpark. So I'm like, ooh, all right, I can see this ain't gonna last too long. Like, just based on what you're saying, because you have to be able to wax poetically. You taught me that term. You have to be able to do it. So another thing, right? When you see some of the former athletes, and I'm gonna talk about our homeboy, right? Let's talk about our homeboy Ryan Clark, for example. Ryan Clark is always making headlines, and it was like Ryan Clark tends to make headlines for all the wrong reasons. And like I've rarely seen Ryan Clark make headlines for like good things. Typically, it's a controversial take, or it's a conflict, be it with what was it? Was it Darius Slay? Was it Slay? I can't remember.
I know the one right now he's going with Shakari Richardson. I know that one.
Right. So you got Shakari, you got before that it's Marcellus Wiley.
One with there was the RG3 one. That was a few weeks.
Oh yeah.
He exposed his own daughter, threw her in the water. She did not even have to be in the water, but he's not weighing all those things. He's just like, I got to get a hot take out, because that's what I'm doing now. I'm a hot take artist. I got to get a hot take out. So
So let me ask you that though. So do you think he's a hot take artist? Do you think he may genuinely feel this way? Because he did have the issue with Brandon Jennings. He did have the issue with Marcellus Wiley. They've had a long standing rivalry. Had the ongoing thing with RG3. It's just like, and what I don't like is I don't like threats, and it got to get physical and stuff like that. Who is it? Antonio Brown? It's everybody. It's like now you're being known more so for beef.
Kevin Durant. I mean, that's how this stuff kind of started, man. We used to just talk about sports, and we used to have debates. We used to have arguments. We used to have addendums, and comes back and debate and all of that. No, Stephen A. Smith came on television. He changed the game. Now the sportscaster, the barbershop stuff, all of that is encapsulated now. That's part of the whole deal now. And Stephen A. Smith, he kind of came on television and he kind of created that lane to where, all the former athletes that come on there now, they're just on there to get viral moments, to have viral back and forths. And that's what it's become. And when you do stuff like that, you kind of lose like the pure instincts of questioning, something that happened, or trying to look at both sides of an issue that happened. You're thinking about, well, I got to take the opposite side of Stephen A. Smith so we can have a good back and forth, rapport or whatnot. And then you get guys like Cam Newton, you get guys like Gilbert Arenas, you get guys on there who are fun characters. Look, do not get it twisted. I think these guys are fun characters. I think Cam Newton is a fun guy to listen to at times. I think Gilbert Arenas is a fun guy to listen to at times. But when you bring them on ESPN on your top ranked show and you give them that pedestal as if everything they're saying should be trifled with, that's how they're gonna feel, man. These guys are athletes. You give them 1 inch of feeling as if they got it made, they got something done, they're gonna roll with it. And I think now what you're seeing a lot of these athletes, they're incredibly overconfident in their debating, overconfident in their points of views, and maybe to the layman, some of it. Well, you even see in the comments online, the layman is getting annoyed. They don't want to listen to ESPN anymore because everything is a hot take. Everything is something silly to go online and lose your mind over. When I think me and you we grew up with sports reporters.
Mhm.
We grew up with guys sitting down talking about topics, taking every angle, you truly understanding what's going on, and you making a decision based on that. Nowadays, I think it was a good thing for the athletes to get a voice. I'm not saying it wasn't a good thing, but at the same time, we lost a lot. We lost.
Do you think that the athletes controlling the narrative has some positive effects though? Because you see a person like a Trey Young who isn't known as a media darling, or someone I remember specifically when Nate McMillan was fired in Atlanta, and Trey Young was just getting the blame, and it was the media was so aggressively like attacking him. He was like, yo, can you kind of step literally like, yo, can you step back a little bit? Or when you see some things like someone like you got Jimmy the Greek, like, it hasn't always been, like a high standard of professionalism. And even when you say, like, for example, Stephen A. Smith is like the godfather of, I would say bravado, a certain bravado as it pertains
To national TV. He's the best damn sports show, period. Who would have thought the dude on best damn sports show, period, who would just be going off, carnival barking half the time, he is literally going to get a percentage of the next presidential vote. I mean, can you even believe that? I mean, that's where we're at. I mean, that's where we're at.
I wanted to ask you though, do you think that's more of an indictment on the audience versus the people themselves? Because hey, if one can say don't hate the player, hate the game, because if the people, I remember when Bill Simmons was with Grantland and he brought in Jalen Rose and Jacoby, those guys were mainly focused on sports. Like, they joked here and there, but it was like, no, we talk about sports. They give educated takes, of course, with Jalen Rose being a former player. There was no, major outlandish moments. And when Grantland kind of failed, that's when again, you see Stephen A. Smith, you see No Chill Gills, you see Kwame is not really Kwame talk about everything. So, but now you see, to your point, Stephen A. Smith, he's at a point where he was like, yo, I gotta take it a step further because my reach is even bigger than these guys. I've already done what they've done, right? I got my millions secured, right? I'm pretty much like the guy at ESPN right now. So now I gotta take it a step further because people like they get started with Skip. They didn't even start. Skip was a real journalist. Skip was like a real guy.
Before he became a cartoon character, he was actually really respected. But the game is just changed so significantly, and I think that one of the reasons it did change is that because Stephen A. Smith got Max Kellerman up out of there. Let's just keep it a buck.
You think that was like the watershed moment?
To me, because when Max Kellerman, like, look, Max Kellerman played his position. He played his role. Anybody who knows Max Kellerman or followed his career for a long time knows he's a very intelligent guy. Knows that he's got started on public access. You know, he built his own brand up. Intelligent guy. Went to I think Columbia or Brown, something like that. So he's a guy that when he got on that show, he dumbed himself down a little bit to be the cartoon character, Tom Brady stuff, and all of that stuff like that. But when those social topics came up, those meaty topics, he attacked them. He attacked them, with a lot of depth. And Stephen A. Smith, let's just be honest, he couldn't handle some of that. So once he got kicked out of the frame, then you could bring in your Russos, you can bring in your Cam Newtons, you can bring in your Gilbert Arenases, you can bring in people that pose no threat to Stephen A. Smith in terms of the back and forth debate. I mean, you watch him on the show; he's playing around like he's really on a soap opera right now because he's not exuding any type of journalism, like the energy that you would have to put on if you were going against another journalist. You was going against a Mike Wilbon or something like that. Every single show is different that you're going to do going against a Ryan Clark. And Ryan Clark said that you already know what 5-10 of the points are going to be able to counter them. So it just has changed the way people have absorbed sports. It's changed the way they absorb the message of sports. It's obviously changed the rhetoric online of these huge topics. And the one thing that I have disliked, the one thing I truly have disliked, is that with this era, it's all personal now. These guys are going at it with one another, like for real, on the internet every day, threatening to beat each other up, threatening to kill each other at the punch. That's journalism.
Yo, I think what you're saying, man, like it hits close to home. I really feel like we're at a point where, especially as men and as adults, we have to have a certain level of integrity and maintain a certain level of emotional intelligence. At the end of the day, this is just even, and some of it's for play, some of this is theater, this is a show. We're entertained. Some of it's entertainment, but ultimately, it's like this is just my opinion. Even if I'm being 100% genuine and sincere with this opinion. This is just my opinion about guys who dribble a basketball, about guys who punch each other in the face boxing, about guys who run and play football, who kick a soccer ball, who play tennis, etc. Now, you brought up a very good point about the social issues, and we'll end with this because I think this is one of the most critical topics, especially recently as it pertains to sports media. Now, of course, sports, especially football, basketball, are dominated by African Americans, Black American players, and formerly baseball, right? So with the Kaepernick, even Josh, was it Gibson or Gibbs who played? He was a wide receiver for the Cleveland Browns. Couldn't stop smoking weed. Yeah. How and then you saw, again with Kaepernick, you saw some of the things that happened with our very own Malcolm Jenkins as well, Eric Reed.
Sanders in there?
Yeah, Deion Sanders, exactly. So how important to you is intersectionality as it pertains to social topics in sports? And when you see a figure like a Ryan Clark, shout out to Cam Newton, but Cam Newton is doing a rebrand. Because Cam, I remember you. I remember you, Cam.
Seen those press conferences. We see press conferences. So
yeah,
we kind of knew Cam before Cam was going to jump on the scene and open his mouth on a lot of topics.
Yeah, Cam, I remember you. So how important is intersectionality in this arena? And also, do you think some people are overdoing it or pandering?
I think that it's good when the person that's talking is knowledgeable and smart. When they know what they're talking about and can have a back and forth, it's good. When you're stepping outside yourself, and you see this a lot with the first take topics, is people stepping outside themselves. It's not just sports topics. They talk about everything on there. Mm-hmm. So whether it's the RG3 situation or the situation here with Sha'Carri Richardson, people who have knowledge on these situations, they come across as if they know what they're talking about, and people who don't tend not to. You know what I'm saying? So I think Ryan Clark staying out, and I don't want to play Ryan Clark as he's just a taker. I know I said that earlier. I'm just kind of like encapsulating the entire going on in the profession right now. He's not just a taker. He says what's on his mind. Now, I don't agree with what would be on his mind half the time, but he does say what's on his mind. But that's what we're seeing right now. Like he feels as if he's empowered to go after RG3 on behalf of somebody if he says something. He feels empowered because he feels like he's at a place where he can impart those opinions on all these big, wide topics, and he can do that. But if you don't know what you're talking about, or you come off like, as if you don't understand the journalism of being able to cover a certain topic, and you're presenting yourself as like a journalist or a sports reporter or something like that, sometimes it can tend to fall a little bit flat. We see in the Shakara Richardson situation where it pretty much is a 9 out of 10. You can figure out what's going on in this situation, and you go and touch him, and he's curled himself into a pretzel, and it's like, bro, what are you doing?
Well, I'll say this. As you speak about his empowerment, much like Stephen A, because I remember Stephen A situation when Ray Rice's incident happened. I feel like people are empowered to go after certain things and certain individuals, right? A certain segment of the population. And I don't feel like but I feel like everyone knows where the line is. Well, I'll say everyone who works in corporate knows where the line is.
They don't.
Wait, how do you mean?
Well, sport athletes don't know. They'll just be spouting off. They'll just know where that line is, to where a journalist has to understand, okay, I'm protecting ESPN, I'm protecting the source, I'm protecting the information gatherers who helping me do this type of stuff. I'm just gonna put them all out to dry because I want to make fun of Kwame Brown in this moment.
Well, no, matter of fact, let me clarify. Because I was trying to get into a press with myself. But I'll say this. If the Shakari Richardson incident was reversed, the narrative will be totally different. Just 100%. Like, and that's what I mean by, I'm sorry. That's what I mean by, you know where to go. Like, you know what line not to cross. You're not going to tell it how it is up until a certain point. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now, you can put on this persona of, oh, we don't cut no cards. You just going to get raw, unfiltered reactions, et cetera, but you got Disney right here saying, tone it back, tone it down when it comes to that. What are your thoughts on that? And we'll close with this.
Also have Stephen A. Smith as your mentor. He is the mentor for all of these guys. So they kind of follow his lead on how, on the back and forth of these things. It's kind of like, I'm untouchable with it. I can say what I want to say. If I have a little backlash, who cares or whatever. You know what I'm saying? If I make a point of view that doesn't come to fruition, hey, well, I'll forget about it. I won't even talk about it. So Stephen A. Smith, again, I'm not putting all the blame on him per se. He just happens to be the guy in the space. And if we talk about him getting Max Kellerman out the frame, you'll see right now, because look, like it or not, First Take's #1 sports show, even though for some ungodly reason, 1 million people watching something, infomercial get more viewers, more First Take. First Take is the #1 sports show. So on there, he's gotten all these people to follow his lead on making it the #1 sports show. And they follow his lead, and they make points like him, and they try to do the same stuff like him. And he is the leader of that gang right now. He's the leader of ESPN. He's the leader of this faux journalism or whatever it is that's going on right now. Just the frustration is I think to you, when you're reading online, and to others, is that sometimes the pandering, sometimes the points of view is so obvious what you're trying to do or how you're trying to play, that it takes it out of the realm of smart people. And it's make it hard to accept. It make it hard to a person that took 80 journalism classes or what like that. I know what question to ask. I know how to ponder on the backup question. On if a person tells me this, I know what to come back with. Listen to the little nuance of what a person dragged that one little word that maybe they didn't think I was listening to, and bring that out. That's thinking about journalism. That's not what they're doing anymore. So it's frustrating to me. I can understand how the American public may enjoy some of this, because it is enjoyable. It's cartoon characters on a cartoon show. It's going to be enjoyable at times. But the overall profession is it's tough right now. I mean, and it's especially tough if you're young and a black male journalist. I don't even think, they're in danger like the dodo bird.
Hey, man, I think you hit the nail on the head, brother. I think that's why you see so many people going up more of an independent route and just going direct to consumer. I think the what's the word? The blueprint is there for a lot of people, It's a lot of it's about consistency, and kind of one of the things an independent journalist told me. I always reference this guy, Get Like Hoop, another one of our homeboys from the city, had a very successful YouTube channel. He was like, "Hey man, you got to go out there and you got to stand on business. Like you got to stand on your positions on things. Be educated, of course, but stand on apologies. Be educated, of course, but stand on your positions on things and be consistent." And I think that's something, that avenue, I think is something that you see young black creators, especially young brothers, kind of thrive in. Even Gilbert Arenas, of course, already had the notoriety, but Gilbert Arenas just started off arguing with Kwame Brown, and he was like, "Yo, what the hell?" This dude had before recently.
Look, it's entertaining. A lot of this stuff is I'll text it to my friends. We'll laugh at back and forth. Kwame went off on he went off on Shannon Sharp last week.
Oh my god,
that was hilarious. By the way, that was absolutely
Kwame crazy, dog.
You can take it for what it is, it's fine. But when we get into these meatier topics of race and politics and socioeconomic stuff, you remember when Max was on First Take, you remember like it was on fringe. You remember you almost could just stop and be like, "Oh, what's going on right now?"
It's tense.
Some of the topics were so serious and the back and forth was so serious. You could see Stephen A. Smith's true, just absolute frustration with this dude because he just wants to rabble rouse. He just wants to shoot the shit. And it's tough when you want to support a guy like that because he's gotten to that place. He's a black guy, gotten to that place, gotten to that level where he's controlling ESPN or whatever. You want to support that. At the same time, you want to have an understanding of, bruh, I pay it forward to the young black journalist, that's any journalist really, but to the young coming out of college that want to get into this profession and want to do it the right way. I don't see where there's a lot of pathways anymore for doing what he's doing right now for the average guy just graduating out of journalism school. It's tough right now, but look, this game, you got to do this. You got to do what Chaz is doing right now. This is what you got to do.
Right. Hey man, you got to find your niche, find your market, and exploit it, man. That's what you got to do. But brother, it's been an honor to have you on. Again, I got to get you back on here. We're going to have an interesting season. And of course, football season's happening. Saints just drafted 2 firsts for a 7th rounder.
I don't talk Saints no.
He gave up.
The Saints. I still talk about the Pelicans because something's wrong with me.
Oh man.
Something is so wrong with me. And I lost my mind already on the Pelicans. So I'm just gonna watch the season to see what happened because I'm not gonna let Zion in his new Fisher Price gangster reform or whatever. I'm not gonna let that deter me. I'm not gonna let any of that hurt me. I'm not gonna let Jordan Poole, YOLOing hurt me. I'm just gonna go in the season and hope to God that we do something because I'm crazy.
And I think we're gonna have a successful season, man. I really do.
God, do we need it? Do the citizens of this city deserve a team from these guys? I mean, my God. And shout out to Gail Benson, $45 million facility. Maybe invest that into the arena.
Amen, brother. But again, I appreciate you joining, brother. Please tell the people where they can find you.
Oh, you can check me out on Twitter, Hank3 Sports, HANX, 3 and Sports. And once again, I'm a PA announcer for CAR, 7-time champions. CAR Cougar football. We're having our jamborees next Thursday, 6:30 p.m. I also PA announcer for McDonough 35, West Jefferson, and LB Landry. So y'all come out, check out these high school games. CAR Cougars. They number 1 in the city, baby.
Shout out to my almost alma mater, the Ryan Eagles. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my Ryan Eagles. But again, brother, appreciate having you on, man. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Tap in for journalism talk like this. Again, this brother does this for real. We appreciate y'all. We out. Peace.
All right.